Radio. Subscribe or follow today.
Hey, it's Michael here for another edition of Oilers Live Tuesday. A little post-game after a disappointing Oilers loss. Kraken 5, Oilers 2. Back from hiatus on the show. In fact, he was in the sin bin. He's out of the sin bin now. Finished his 10-game suspension. He's back on the microphone. My guest, 33-time guest, or how many times you been?
Not that I'm counting, but 34.
34. So you were 33.
And a half.
34 and a half. Welcome to the show.
Thanks. When are you going to swallow your pride and start calling me associate guest host?
Associate guest host. All right. All right. Some stranger already. Thanks for tuning in. Disappointing is an understatement. You can say that. What do you thought?
See, you switched back to the old view here so that you don't have the comments up on the screen.
No, they're on the screen now.
Oh, I see it now.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Just came into my view.
It's there.
Perfect. I just
this
thought you were
isn't
maybe
a new
scared
view. I've been playing around with a couple different things.
My first time on here, though.
Yeah. No, this one's completely new. I made this specifically for you.
Wow.
Yeah. This is all. It's
what
all
you get for your 34th. That's what you get for your 34 and a half visit.
34 is pretty special. Oh, man. I tell you. I mean, that's probably the best chat right there. The best statement. Disappointing is an understatement. What happened tonight? I mean, give me your thoughts on the game. I'll give you mine.
I think, sometimes it looks like there's almost too much reliance on McDavid. He scored that second goal, and the whole team just went, oh, all right, well, we've got this one tonight. Nobody needs to try anymore. And after that, they couldn't really make a play to save their lives. Like, it was loss on peck battles, giving up easy cycle attempts. Like, it was hockey that was pretty easy to play their way out of and just kind of didn't. So I don't know. There was a few Oilers that really looked like they just didn't have a lot of F's to give.
Yeah, I mean, 100%, right? Like, I actually think, they started out, and once they had those two goals, they settled into this, I'm going to, we're going to have the same game we had last time, right? Like, this is going to be this is going to be another blowout. This team, and the way I see it is, Seattle's not they're a fighting for a wild card type of team. To me, they're not good enough to be top 3 in the division. Apparently, they're good enough to be top 3 in the Pacific Division right now. But this Oilers team should be blowing them out of the water just like they did last game, every single game. And the Oilers weren't good enough. I don't think this is less about Seattle being good, more about the Oilers just being lackluster. Neil says it best. Bouchard looked lost. I mean, that's not the first time he's looked lost.
If you asked me to make a list of the guys that looked like they had 0 F's to give, Bouchard was tops on that list. There's no doubt about it. Usually when you make a play, like look at Connor. If he screws up or he loses the puck, he's the first guy back to go and get it. Bouchard, I just feel like his meter for that just isn't there. Like the next shift, he just kind of goes and makes another mistake or looks lost on something else. Their positioning in their own end, their ability to move guys out of the box and cover even the right person in front of the net just looked discombobulated tonight. And I know Bouchard was playing with Broberg, and maybe that's not easy either, but it's no excuse, I don't think. You got to start to figure it out at this point in time. The defense just kind of being our defense. I don't know. The 2-goal lead is kind of the worst the worst lead in hockey in Edmonton recently, right?
Yeah,
that's Vancouver,
ridiculous.
New Jersey, St. Louis.
What a waste,
4-1,
right?
4-1 in the last 5 at home, man.
Calgary Flames lose tonight to Winnipeg.
Yeah, thanks, Jets. The Jets looked like the team we ran into in the Stanley Cup that swept us.
Yeah.
Just couldn't generate offense and still played really well. Goaltending played was fine, but Hellebuck was better.
Yeah. I mean, The Jets have a good team this year, though, and they're getting production all the way through the lineup. They're solid goaltending. Hellebuck's been great. Did us a favor tonight. The only favor they really did, though, was, ensure we're not, terribly out of it. But as every day goes by, I mean, it just feels more and more like this team's going to be down the stretch, really fighting for a playoff spot, and there's just no reason for it. I mean, this is missed opportunity after missed opportunity. And to lose 5 games in a row at home when you've got Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl. It's crazy. It's crazy. Neil says, I thought Nurse looked decent tonight. What's your thoughts? One of the few.
Other than the second goal where half the team quit because they thought that the whistle went. Him and Kulak looked pretty silly as the puck walked right between two of them for Jaden Schwartz's goal. But, I mean, I don't know. Nurse wasn't perfect, but he was fine.
Yeah, he wasn't the worst Oiler tonight. That's for sure. I mean, the Bouchard has got to do something. His reads tonight, like the one where Barry saved him, potentially one of the worst reads on a play that I've ever seen an NHL defenseman make. Like, he didn't even, looked like he was still playing junior out there. That's how bad that was.
I think a few guys thought they were still playing junior out there tonight.
Yeah. And this team's, they can put a stretch together. They've got, and they're getting some, play out of some guys that maybe you didn't expect to get play out of. Klim Kostin, right? Even Puljujarvi, I think, has been decent. It'd be nice if he put the puck in the net, but he's played well enough, right? Like, he doesn't look lost out there.
Yeah. If you go to that article in The Athletic that shows the projected salary for what they're worth, I think it showed JP was at a $6.5 million clip or something. Like, he's, even without scoring a whole bunch, he's still out playing what he's worth. He's still a great player to have.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, this is just dog's going crazy back here.
I just was going to say Merlin's so excited because all we can see is the tail wagging.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. You hear something. He's going after it. He's being a guard dog. I mean, where do the Oilers go from here? Let's talk about goaltending. I mean, we've had some conversations about this offline. Skinner has been playing quite a bit for a guy that's, new to the league. Campbell's supposed to be the guy. My view on it is you've got to play, and we've had this discussion on here before, but the thing is you've got to play Campbell those moments that you can. When he's had a good game and you can promote him up to play a little bit more, you've got to play those times, and they haven't done that. And my gut is that they'll continue to play Skinner more than he probably should play for a young guy like him. This is not a knock on Skinner. This is a kid that's new to the league, right? Shouldn't be playing starting goaltending minutes, I don't think.
Why not?
And you miss the opportunity to
He's earned him. Why not?
Campbell.
Stop right there.
Okay, fair. What's your thoughts?
Well, why hasn't he earned the right to play 65 games?
I just think that a young guy in the league probably, needs to take some time before he's pushed to 65 games.
Cam Talbot played 75 games and took us to the second round. I mean,
He wasn't new to the league.
What happened in 2006? Like, do you think it's easy to ride the bus since you're 16 years old in Lethbridge and Swift Current, and then play in the AHL and take 12-hour? He's played 80 games every year of his life. Why can't he now?
Maybe you're right. I just, it's a common thing.
I just don't get that narrative. I don't why go a rookie goalie can't. We're going to overplay him. Why?
Yeah, I
Because
think
he's
it's
young,
fine.
has good legs,
anytime
he's
you see a
playing, he's
rookie
deserving it,
goalie
he's been
play,
consistent. Let's
anytime
go.
you see a rookie
It's
goalie
his
play
time.
more than backup minutes, it's typically not going to end well, right?
Except in 2006.
What happened in 2006?
The Oilers lost the Stanley Cup to a rookie goaltender, Cam Ward, that got ridden.
Yeah.
Patrick Waugh. Goalies have won the Stanley Cup that are
Patrick
rookies.
Waugh is not a good example. Stuart Skinner's no Patrick Waugh. I mean, I love Skinner, but he's no Patrick Waugh.
Yeah. Hey, you also said McDavid wouldn't score 50 this year.
I didn't think he would.
Who wants your opinion?
That was a pretty goal tonight.
You said in the group chat that Connor Bedard's a bad skater. Who wants your opinion?
I didn't say he was a bad skater.
5 minutes later, he
that.
dangles on his edges through
I did not say
16
he's a bad
different
skater.
Slovakians.
I did not say he's a bad skater. That's a lie. Downright lie.
Stretch the goalie
What
like
I
he's
said
beat every
was,
Slovakian
what I
goalie that's
said
ever
was,
played net.
Connor Bedard sees the game better than pretty much any player that I've seen. Like, he sees the game unbelievably. But his skating for a guy of that skill level is not like he's not Crosby. He's not Crosby skating. He's not even Fantilli skating. But his
Pretty sure you called him below average. I'll have to check our private thread.
Average. There's no way I said below average.
He has no ability on his edges at all. I can go and scoop it up. It's the world famous heavy hockey private chat. It's right here. Don't make me get the receipts.
Yeah. Don't be telling lies. Don't be telling lies. Don't be telling lies out of school. Somebody did say the Flames were finishing first in the division.
Hey, whoa! First rule about Fight Club, easy.
Oh man. Let's talk about World Juniors because the Oilers game.
Yeah, man.
That's all.
You've been right there, hey?
I have been right there, and the truth about Bedard is I have never seen a player with his ability to see the game like he does. And you're not going to see it even on, as you know, I mean, you go to games, you don't see everything that goes on. You don't get the full grasp of just how good even a Connor McDavid is, or one guy that I remember I've watched live a few times is Darlene in Buffalo. Like guys like that, these exceptional players.
Carlson in his prime.
Carlson, when you're watching
Makar in the
outside
playoffs.
of
Merlin right now.
Yeah. I mean, he's just outstanding. He's doing things so efficiently outside of the play.
Merlin's edge work is superior to Connor Bedard's.
He's killing me tonight. He's killing me tonight. All right. Let's go back. So anyway, the Connor Bedard, just outstanding. Watching him play, watching everything, leadership on the ice. This is one thing I did say. I mean, I have no idea, which we don't know. We never know till a guy gets to the NHL. Everybody talks about possibly his size being a problem, right?
You're running him right out of the NHL already. Poor skater, terrible size.
Yeah. I mean, I
might not make
like.
the NHL.
I can't wait to see this kid play. I hope. We were talking about which of the bottom five we'd like to see him play. I'd love to see him play in the Pacific Division. I'd love to watch this guy 4 or 5 times a year, or 3 times if he's playing in Calgary. It'd be. He's just exciting to watch. Watching him against Connor McDavid, like having a Ovechkin versus Crosby type of, rivalry, be outstanding. That's great hockey. It's not like you're playing these guys 30 times a year. You play them 3 or 4 games. Like, up the, entertainment value. I don't give a shit that the Oilers got, a tougher guy to play against. I'd love to see him in our division.
You're already giving Connor Bedard Austin Matthews' spot beside McDavid?
Austin Matthews. Who? Where is he?
Who are you talking about? Connor Bedard? Connor Bedard? I've never heard of this guy.
Austin Matthews. Austin Matthews. Where's he in
Go
the
Leafs.
scoring race now? He's actually he scored his 20th tonight, which is not bad. Pretty decent.
Well, since you want to talk about the Leafs so much, did you see Mitch Marner's shootout goal?
Oh, nice. Pretty sweet.
Like, unbelievable.
Reminded me like Gagne. Remember Gagne's shootout goals?
Of course I do. Yeah.
Oh man,
Nobody better.
guy was outstanding. I need you to take over
Are you
for half
Are you
a second.
handcuffed?
I'm handcuffed. I gotta get this.
I'd love to. He looks like he's handcuffed behind his chair for all those that are just listening. He keeps wobbling back and forth to try to get his dog out, but he keeps failing. So
I feel
as
like
he wobbles back and forth like a penguin on his chair, he looked like he was, kind
I
of
feel like
tied up.
Dursa's got the cats back here or something having a cat fight.
This wouldn't be. You never know what you're going to see in heavy hockey.
No. This is made for radio right now. Let's switch back to some stranger says he'll be a Johnny Gaudreau.
Yeah, imagine if Columbus gets that guy.
Oh man, I said this
Two Goudreaus.
when we were talking about this. Like, there would be nothing worse in my head than for Connor Bedard to prop up Gaudreau's numbers. Like, it would drive me up the wall.
Except nothing would change. They'd still lose in the first round every year.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm excited to see him play. I hope he does well. That's all I have to say. I hope that he does almost as good as McDavid, but not as good as McDavid.
To back Michael up, you did call him a generational talent in your article that you wrote.
He is a generational talent. He's like, I've literally have never seen anybody see the game like he does. Like, he can shoot and he can pass. There's McDavid's doing amazing things. He's the best player in the world, hands down. That speed is just unbelievable, and how he can move the puck. And
Got
the
the
fact
cheat
that
code
he's
for the turbo button, man. It's just like it's always
tonight. And the fact that he's changed his game to be a goal scorer, right? Like, is just unbelievable tonight, right? That goal.
Yeah.
And it brings a whole new dimension to his game. He's getting points now because, you watch. So it's watch that Connor Bedard goal against Slovakia, and I the way I see it is he doesn't score that if he's not a shooter, and I think that because he fakes that. Well, he doesn't fake the shot, but you don't know if you're blocking the shot or if you're blocking a deke. He can do both. And McDavid now, well, he always did, but he's even more so this year, which is why he's so dominant in the points, is you don't know if he's going to shoot or if he's going to pass. You always figured pass first. But now he's just unreal. Some stranger says McDavid is proven. That's the difference. 100% agree. I don't know that Bedard will ever surpass what McDavid's doing. I mean, we're here to watch something amazing, and it's a shame that games like tonight even happen.
He keeps this pace up, he's going to be the third fastest to 1,000 points behind Lemieux and Gretzky.
Yeah, and in a time when nobody else is doing it.
Yeah,
right. I mean,
they did it that way too, right? I mean, they were leading their scaring races by. Sure. Remember the drafts we used to do when Gretzky's goals and Gretzky's assists were two different categories?
It's fun to watch. The downside to all of this is it's fun to watch in another year of Oilers mediocrity.
It's like crazy how McDavid's narrative this year went from, I wonder if he could ever win a Richard, to, I wonder if he'll ever not win the Richard.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like in 30-some games? Yeah. The way he's scoring, I don't know if anybody will ever win one again.
He's the only guy that's been unbelievable. And well, I mean, Ovechkin continues to be amazing, but Tage Thompson, big surprise. Kirk called that one.
30th tonight. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Tage
don't
Thompson's
forget our
been
boy
on
Jeff
fire.
Aid.
That's right. Yeah, Jeff knew. And he's been Tage Thompson's a pure goal scorer. Like that guy. That guy's pretty awesome. I'm happy to see guys like that in the league. It's fun to watch. Connor McDavid does everything. What's he like? Outside of Draisaitl, he's almost 20 points ahead, and it's Tage Thompson behind him. He's 18 points ahead.
Yeah, I guess the 5-point night to pull 15 ahead of Draisaitl and extrapolate that out, and he leads the league by 66 points or 36 points or something. Sorry,
it's unbelievable, right? I mean, he's got in most cases he's got more goals than some of the leading scorers on a team, right? In points, I'm still in shock, and there's talk in the chat. He looked. Probably there's been a couple of games this year where he's looked so frustrated. Like, I mean, they cut away to him at one point tonight when it was 4-2 and he's on the bench. I don't know what he said, but didn't look happy. Did not look happy.
Neil Garrity just says McDavid is underrated. Let's debate whether that's sarcasm or not.
Yeah. I mean,
like it might not be.
No, it might not be, right? He is underrated. And, the same thing.
He's so good.
The Bedard thing's the same thing, right? Like, as soon as Bedard's running away with this World Junior all-time Canadian record, right? The first thing you hear is, he's going to be too small or whatever, right? For the NHL. That's the first. McDavid, we've been dealing with that as Oilers fans forever, right? Like he maybe scores too many on the power play, or or this or that, or his two-way game's no good. Everybody's going to find some reason. Like every year, there's some new reason why McDavid can't be the Hart Trophy winner, right? Like that. It's not about whether McDavid's worthy of the Hart. It's about how can we find a way to give it to somebody else.
Not his trophy to win, it's his trophy to lose.
Exactly. It's gross, right? It's like he's just so much better.
Gretzky had that bias too, man.
Oh yeah, for sure he did, 100%. I mean, it's just
Although
Tiger Woods
straight,
has it.
So.
Tiger Woods had it when he was top of the golf world. Everybody has it. Yeah. I mean, you got to love a winner like this. And what about Draisaitl tonight? I mean, he looked like he's fully healed.
He looked like he had some. I think he was calling for the puck. He looked like he had some P and V.
Yeah, he made some pretty plays
for a while until Connor scored the second goal, and the whole team decided to take a dump.
It was sad, sad day for sure.
Pretty despicable second period, man. Like, it was gross hockey. It was tough to watch.
What do the Oilers do?
10 minutes without a shot.
Here? Where do they go from here? I mean, they've got, Islanders coming up on Thursday night.
Well, do you trust Campbell?
I
have to at some
legit
point, right?
think, I mean, you and I disagree on this, but I legit think you got to start putting Campbell in the net. At some point.
Wait till he gets used to his new pads.
Yeah.
Serious.
And he didn't play poorly when he came in tonight. Looked good. He wasn't terrible against the Jets. He wasn't fantastic.
And that first goal was pretty terrible.
First goal was awful. You're right.
It's 50% of the goals that were scored, so it's not great.
Just
this just in. Campbell's not good.
Well, but he can be, right? I don't know. I mean,
I told you guys this from the beginning of the season. I told you this.
What game was it? Now going back, and I was upset he didn't play afterwards. And he played a good game, and then the Oilers came back with Skinner the next game. Oh man, come on, Kirk, help me out here in the chat.
That wasn't that long ago, right?
No, it wasn't that long ago. It was in December.
Yeah.
He played a great game.
Is that
Comes
Nashville,
out,
St. Louis, or Minnesota, Nashville, or something?
I think it was Nashville, or yeah.
I mean, St. Louis, we crapped the bed in that game.
I think it was Nashville.
2-goal lead.
Like he came
Worst lead in Alberta.
Came out and played Nashville. I think you're right. Yeah, Predators. Yeah, it was the Predators game. We lost 4-3 in overtime, but he played an outstanding game, and probably one of the better sort of 4 goals against games that you can expect. Like there were a lot of chances. Nashville had 35 shots. I mean, it was a good game. He came in. He did what you'd expect of a starter to do, and then Woody came back with Skinner the next game. And I just feel like, in my mind, like those are the moments when you gotta play Campbell again. Because at the end of the year, hey, if you want to, if we subscribe to your line of thinking that it shouldn't matter how many times a rookie goaltender plays in a season, and you could be right, but you're still going to need that goalie to come in and be your backup, right? Like you're still going to need a capable backup in a guy like Campbell. And so, when he's got a good game like that where he comes out and he plays, it's not his fault the team lost. Put him back, right? Put him back in and give him some confidence. Get him some confidence. Get him a couple wins. And then when you need to come back to him later on in the season, you're not saying to everybody, well, if only we'd played Campbell more when we could have, when he was hot. Right? I don't know. I mean, obviously,
it's a long season, man. I think Campbell's going to have a hot stretch. He's a streaky
slow.
Goalie. Always has been.
He'll get hot. Short season pretty quick, right?
Ryan McDavid will get hot. We'll put together 14 of 17 or something, and it'll all be in the dust. I mean, it can't stay like this. What, are we going to play Seattle in the first round? That'd be amazing.
That would be nice. Seattle, I can't even believe Seattle's sitting in third in our division.
They've had, like, if you go and look at the fancy stats, their PDO is very high. Like, they've had a lot of things go their way to get where they are. They started scoring goals early, right? That obviously helped quite a bit, but it's catching up to them.
Well, tonight's a good example, right? Like, you look at this game, and to me, it's not so much of a Seattle came out and looked great. I didn't think they looked great. I thought the Oilers just looked like shit. Like in fact, I thought if the Oilers had continued to play as a team like they did in the first period, it could have been another 7-2 game.
Listen to this. Martin Jones, I think he's 16-5-3 on the year, and he has an 890. And I'm pretty sure I heard somewhere that he was like 8-1-3 in his last 12 or something like that, and also had an 880 over that time. Like, he's got a 800 winning percentage with an 800 save percentage. When does that catch up to you?
Yeah.
They get another injury, they're going to be using an e-bug. They'll need Kirk Morris to go down there and play some goal for them. He can use Campbell's old pads that have the shitty rebounds.
Oh, man. I was going to chirp. I reached out to a couple of Kraken podcasters from different places. Nobody wanted to join
have the associate.
Nobody wanted to join the post game tonight. And I was going to chirp them after the first period. And am I ever happy I didn't? I sat back as I was pushing the tweet, putting the tweet on in there, and I'm like, oh damn, this one's going to backfire on me, and I didn't hit send. So
now in goal for the Seattle Kraken, Kirk Morris, e-bug Kirk Morris, number 69 in net.
The Kraken have to fall apart at some point, right?
Well, they would with Kirk Morris between the pipes.
They might. I mean, 800.
Or improve. What's Martin Jones done?
How hard could it get an 800 save percentage be?
Their team has an 886, and they're in a playoff spot. How does that happen?
Stand in front of the puck. I mean, Campbell could be playing for them. Maybe we could trade Campbell there.
Alexiak has a better save percentage. How about Nuge going top cheese on Adam Larson tonight? Puts it right past Larson. Sorry. I thought that was pretty funny.
Jack had the curse going tonight. Everything he said went against the Oilers tonight.
Jeepers. Low Tide was doing play-by-play.
Yeah, I blame Jack for the loss tonight. He said the Oilers have scored on every one of their power plays. What happens? No score. In fact, they get it called back. In the patented Draisaitl, you love to see it. Although it looked offside at the beginning of the play, I thought that was coming back. I'm not surprised by that one.
Well, after Nuge's power play goal, they were 3 for 3 against the Kraken this year.
Well, the Kraken's got the worst PK in the league?
Oh, it's right up there in the top 3. I'm not sure if it's still the worst, but it's terrible. And it's been even worse lately. And if you just look at the month of December, it's gross. And then just in the month of December, our power play was 44%. 44. And we scored another one tonight. So
the power plays is good, right? Nugent Hopkins is doing great. Another guy I didn't expect to have the season he's had. He's been outstanding. In fact, Nuge, Costin, and Janmark. What's your thoughts on Janmark? He hasn't really, outside of that line, I think has been pretty solid.
Yeah, I'd say they've been a really dependable line together. They've played together quite a bit as well. I was going to say earlier to finish off that it's crazy when you go 1 for 3 on the power play and you bring your average down.
Yeah, it is crazy. The power play's been outstanding. So,
for real.
Yeah.
But what was your question again? Sorry, I went full Dursa.
Well, what's your thought on Janmark? Here's a guy that he seems to be getting a fair bit of play with Woody, right? He played, he played what 4 minutes more than 4 or 5 minutes more than Holloway, Costin, Derek Ryan. Right, he's playing middle of the road minutes. And
I kind of feel a little bit of Tobias Reeder in him. Just fly around the ice. He's got pretty good speed. He's stocky. That's a real comparison. I mean that. Good on the PKs, got above average offensive skill. Every once in a while, he does something creative offensively that you're like, that was Janmark. I think he's developed chemistry with Nuge on 5v5. So, yeah.
He played veteran, first line minutes in Vegas last year, for a quarter of the season, I think.
Well, there's so many injuries. Yeah. They were thinking of calling you up.
They called. Said no way.
Yeah. I can't. I got to do 34 podcasts with Dash.
That's right. So I can't leave Dash alone. The guy needs me.
He'll burn the place down. I gave him 3 episodes in a row, and he almost ruined my show. I can't do it.
Oh man. Janmark's been a disappointment to me. Right? I expected more. Of course, you get. You got
Neil Maidlet.
Why look at Puljujarvi, who in fairness is getting more minutes than Janmark, right? But Puljujarvi, even without the production, at least he's getting chances. He's doing right things. I'm finding I'm watching him and I get disappointed in him. Although this line of Costin, Janmark, and Nuge is probably the best third line we've had in ages.
Language do you think they speak out there?
I don't know. Nuge probably speaks like, I don't know, Vancouverite, I guess.
Yeah. Details.
Interior BC. You know, what's it?
Blink 182 said it's all about the small things.
That's right. Oh man, I can't wait. So Evander Kane's week to week. That'll look good. Oilers went 2 games.
Campbell's going to get used to those pads right around the time Kane comes back. And we're going to win like 15 out of 20. And nobody will be talking about this. This reminds me of the time last year when we were all like, oh, Skinner has to be playing and starting. They need to be calling him up. Both of our goalies are terrible. Smith can't do anything. Koskinen can't do anything. We better put Smith on permanent IR right now and call up Skinner. Why aren't we calling? Like, that was a real conversation for weeks.
Yeah, no, I know. I'll tell you,
like that again. Like, just chill out. Like, look what Mike Smith ended up doing, right? Like Campbell had a 953 in the beginning of their year before he went into the 958 or something going into the All-Star game last year. He's capable of going on a ripper. We need Kane back, though. I hate saying it, but we need Kane back.
Seattle scores the 4th goal in my Twitter timeline. Just
they speak Nuge. Attaboy, Garrity. Let's just sit back and read Neil's messages. Yeah. It's pretty damn funny.
But it
was nice of him for him to carry that show that he did on Straight Off the Pipe with that mannequin from Cabela's. Did you see that?
No, I missed it.
Neil did well. Yeah. I know what it's like to have to carry a show there.
Oh man, yeah, I forgot Neil was on. Neil was fighting. Weren't you, Neil? You're fighting on Twitter with somebody today about your hockey knowledge. I read that.
Oh, is that right? Oh, I got to go look that up.
Yeah, go.
Was Neil like, I've been on a podcast with Mike Dursa.
That's right. I have. Oh, man.
The cred I have.
You're right about one thing, right? Like, which is, last year, same thing. This year, if you can take any solace, it's that this team looks like they've got way more to give, and they're still sitting in a playoff spot. Now, granted, Colorado's got 3 games on them. Minnesota's got 3 games, I think, as well. So there's some, there could be some movement. St. Louis is right behind. But this team's, they're in a spot that I didn't expect them to be, given the style and the type of play that they've had of late. So, they go, have a good stretch, and they're not far out of. In fact, they're not even that far away from. They're 8 points back of Los Angeles with a couple games in hand.
Yeah, think about that. We're debating at the beginning of the season whether LA would even make the playoffs, and we're halfway through the season, and we're talking about having to catch up 8 points already on the Kings. Like, we're sitting in the last wild card spot right now. 1 point ahead Colorado, 1 point behind Calgary.
But if they played, this bad, and they're still there, I mean, the point is they've got more to give, right? Like, I think look, I think that Woody did something which is good. He split up Draisaitl, split up McDavid, and then tonight I'm all right with them going back on the same line like he did.
A healthy scratching Draisaitl.
Yeah, the healthy scratching.
One way to split them up.
Yeah. I mean, prior to that, you know what I'm talking about.
I know.
Yeah. I mean, this is exactly that when you this team's running 3 lines like that, and you've got Nuge, who's, I think, having maybe his best season as an Oiler,
without a doubt.
Like in what I love about Nuge's season this year is you can't. There's no credit to be given to Draisaitl and McDavid for it. It's like it's Nuge doing it on his own. I mean,
He's
sure,
pushing his own line, pushing the river on his own line. Yeah, carrying his own line.
He's a catalyst on the power play, right? Like he's doing things. He's just been outstanding, and there's not much bad you could say about Nuge. I don't, like he's defensively.
He's one of the best half-wall power play
specialists
in the entire NHL.
Great on the PK when he's out there.
Yeah. He's always on the right side of the puck.
Yeah.
Usually, but more than most. Nuge forever.
He'll go down as in the category of like the Oilers Wall of Fame or whatever. He'll get in there. The Oilers.
He's getting up there in career games played, I think.
Yeah, he's been outstanding. I've been a big fan of his this year. And there were times early on in this season where I was maybe a little critical, but he just he's getting better as the season progresses. So there's some positives in the season, but I mean the overall thing is if this team played to their potential, they'd be, even with the defense we have, they should be, sitting in at least second or third. I mean, we thought going into the trade deadline, they'd be, top of the division and they'd be guaranteed buyers. I mean, you couldn't. Yeah. I don't even think. Can Holland go into the deadline this year, sitting in a wild card spot and not be a buyer even? Like, or does he have to be a buyer this year? Yeah.
Or Low Tide's prediction will come true, and I don't want to say that out loud.
I don't want to know. I didn't hear Low Tide's prediction. Send it to me in the chat.
We've talked about it before. It's the fear if we don't win a Stanley Cup before the first big contract expires, what might happen. And we've never been more buy now than we are buy now, win now.
Yeah, they have to buy, right? Like this is, and it's not even about that, right? Like it's finally we're at the stage where patience is not an option anymore, right? Mm-hmm. Like I could look back on previous seasons and say have some patience, right? But we're not there anymore. Like this is you just can't you can't. It would be a waste. It would be a waste of two great careers in Draisaitl and McDavid and Nuge. To not see these guys, take it a step further than where they were last year.
Yeah.
And this is a year outside of, like this is a year where actually teams have a shot. I mean, the one powerhouse being Boston. Right? But you wouldn't have to face them until the final. Like as far as the West is concerned, has there ever been a more equal year? Like there's not a team in the West that the Oilers can't beat.
Yeah, I agree.
So,
that deadline acquisition looks like it's becoming more and more key and more important, though, right? I mean, as you see us kind of float in the position we are, nobody saw us here, but at the end of the day, we need something on the back end, whether you can get that Radko Gudas type or your Joel Edmondson and fit it all in. I mean, there's those small rumors out there that Duncan Keith's trying to convince the Taves to come. Can you imagine?
Oh, I mean, the Oilers need to go all in. I don't care if they trade away 2 or 3 first rounders. Like, just go for it, right? Like, I honestly, when I look at up and down the Western Conference right now, tell me a team that's not beatable in the playoffs for the Oilers. Yep. Like, this is as equal. Colorado's not running away with it this year.
No, not even close. They're below us in the standings.
Yeah. Like, there's never been a better time. Now, if we were in the East, different story. I mean, Boston is Boston's unreal. I mean, that's just unreal. And even
Yeah.
Carolina.
I mean, I agree with Stahl on the chat. Kulak needs to up his game. You know what though? Like, just take White out and just defense. Anybody fill in the blank needs to
They
pick
all
up
do.
his game. Really, honestly, Barry's having a good year, but he's still giving up more chances than he's getting.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot. I mean, defense as a whole needs to be better, right? I mean, I have always said as well. I mean, we've complained about the goaltending in Edmonton for forever, but at some point you got to look and say maybe the goaltenders weren't as bad as they ended up being because the defense wasn't as good as they should be. And I thought it would change this year. I thought, or had hoped that at the beginning of the season that Manson would do something, systems wise. And actually, we looked better defensively when Woody first came onto the Oilers. We changed the way we played, and it just seems to have gone back.
Changed our neutral zone coverage, changed how we back check and who picks up the puck in our own end, changed to where the weighted coverage is. But people catch up to that too, right? Video catches up to you, and that was the first time the Oilers were doing it the Woodcroft way, and it's a slim margin, and everybody does their homework. So ultimately, you just have to stay ahead, and I think that he's a proactive thinker and creative coach that's going to be able to do that. I'm not jumping on any Woodcroft Manson wagons. I think ultimately you've got to have the proper tools. You give Dave Manson a Radko Gudas and a Joel Edmondson, I think we'll see what the defense could produce. Right? Like, enough of Jacob Chikrin, man. Honestly, why? Like, it's more of what we already have, and he historically plays 6 out of every 10 games for his entire career. So that injury comes 2 weeks before the playoffs. Great. Like, we're screwed.
Yeah,
we need depth on the left side and on the right side. We can't be running Broberg in a number 6 spot in the playoffs. Like,
the whole Chikrin talk,
hate if we got Chris Russell back.
The whole Chikrin talk has more to do with needing anything, than Chikrin himself, right? Like, this is about Oilers fans, hearing a name and thinking, he's available, and let's grab whoever's available, right? That's what it's about. It's the symptom of what the real problem is, and the defense needs an upgrade, and so somebody's going to want Chikrin, somebody's going to want whoever. You want Gudas, right? Like, it's just everybody wants something different.
Yeah.
Because what we have isn't working. I don't know.
Yep.
I mean, what do you?
No,
do?
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
I mean, I think you're probably right. Chikrin, you don't need. If anything, the Oilers suffer more injuries than any other team in the league. We don't need a guy that does it on his own, right? Like we're perfectly capable of doing that on our own. We can find somebody. You need a guy that like a stalwart that stay in there. And I don't even think, for that matter, I don't think we need all-star defensemen. We just need capable defensemen.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, like you could put Larson. You could trade for Larson. That'd be an upgrade to me, right? Like,
of course it would.
Yeah. You gotta. Those are the guys that the Oilers need, and if you can pair a guy like that with a puck mover, I mean, it's.
You need that in the playoffs, though, man. You need to be scared to go into the blue paint, right? Like,
yeah.
Nobody scares me other than Darnell Nurse, and he can't be taking penalties and sitting in the box. Like it or not, he's our number 1 defenseman, and he's also our number 1 penalty killer.
Nurse will have a game where I watch him, and I'm just like, oh, man, I love this guy. And then the very next game...
I agree with everything.
The next game, Nurse comes out, and it's like once he gets too much confidence, he feels he can do whatever he wants, right? Like he's just too inconsistent for me. But I think that's the guy, like a guy like Nurse, if you have somebody that can calm him down, and I think last year I think CC helped a little bit with that. I don't think it's doing the same thing this year.
Yep.
And probably having Keith on the team really helped out. Neil asks, who comes out if Larson is in?
Well, that's just it. Like, Larson's not realistic anymore.
No, he's not.
Right? I mean, the first acquisition has to be on the left-hand side.
And there's no way Seattle's trading with him.
Right.
Not at the present day.
You might need some help on the right side in case there's injuries in the playoffs. And somebody like Kulak or CC has to take a few games off. But maybe.
Well, the way Bouchard's been playing,
Ryan Murray for that,
guy.
Who knows?
Right now. Bouchard is a 6 or 7 guy on any other team right now. The way he's playing defensively, and he's something's got to happen for him. He's suffering a little bit of confidence problem too. I think all the shin pads he's been hitting, and
if the playoffs started now, it'd be him and Broberg in the press box, and we'd have to go and get 2 veteran defensemen.
Yeah. I mean, D is I think from a forward perspective, the team's actually looked half decent lately. I mean, they're scoring, they're scoring, and we're getting production down the lineup for a change.
Holloway's looking more comfortable. I think Payarvi's starting to look more comfortable. Hyman's still the straw that stirs the drink. You still got 29 and 97 and 93. So, right, Costin can keep this type of production up, then that's a great diamond in the rough find. Kane really changes everything because it just gives you another 50-goal threat in the top 2 lines. And when he and Draisaitl and Payarvi played together in the playoffs, that was a tough line to stop. Like, just 3 huge men clogging around. And then when he's with McDavid, he's magic. So
Kane makes such a huge difference, and
huge difference.
Fogel's good in stretches, but he overplaying him in the top 6 is it just exposes the fact that he's a third liner or fourth liner at best.
Kane puts him right back in his place, right? Yeah. That's where Fogel goes when Kane's back. So
I haven't been upset with Fogel this year. Now that I know what kind of player he is, right? Like, I feel like last year I maybe expected more of him than we got, but now you know what kind of player he is, and he's being overplayed where he's at. Kane makes a huge difference, for sure. Having McLeod back, that's amazing. And if you go, if you got Kane back and you need to, you can load up those top 2 lines, put Nuge back up there if you want to, and McLeod's a capable third line guy. Yeah.
Agreed.
I'm happy to see Shore out of the lineup. That's
your boy.
Yeah, my boy. That's painful to watch. Man. And like,
we do need some grit.
We do need some grit, but I don't know that we need it in the D side, I think, of the team. I think we're starting to see it in the forwards. We're starting to see, I've loved the way Yamamoto's played of late. Like, he's back being Yamamoto of old when it comes to...
That's what I mean, man. Yeah. I feel a 15 out of 20 coming or something. I really do. Like, all the forwards are starting to get a little more confidence. There's a little bit more gel happening. We have Kane coming back. Somehow we can make some sort of improvement on defense and bring in some toughness there. Then having Kane back and some new toughness, just call him Radko Gudas for the sake of the conversation. Like, right, you've got intimidation on both sides. And I just think that's all of a sudden things start to click, right? And then that's going to help Campbell's confidence. And then Campbell's going to start to get on one of his heaters. And then they can go back and forth for 20 games. And, both guys can go 7-2 or whatever.
Yeah.
It's going to happen. You heard it here first.
You heard it here first, if you're listening. If you listen, I'm going to mark what time. We got to get the timestamp.
Yeah, clip that. That's right.
Timestamp. Let's get it down. All right. Let's wrap things up. 56,
hey, buddy.
56 minutes. Good to talk to you again. Been a while.
As always. Yeah,
It's
love being here,
a few
man.
weeks, I bet. A couple weeks.
Yeah, at least I was the correspondent in the tropics for at least 2 weeks. So.
That's right. We've since you got back, we've been lax on the heavy hockey minute. Next game's Thursday night against the New York Islanders.
I just figured once my YouTube short got more views than any other in the history of heavy hockey that you guys just stopped making them because you knew you could never do better.
What's that? That's probably what it was. Nah. Tell you, damn bots, eh?
Eh? That's right.
The bots, they're no good for... So, the Oilers got the Islanders next on Thursday, 7 p.m. Mountain. Then Colorado on Saturday.
Two still.
Yeah, the Colorado game, I think, is a good... like this next little stretch here, they've got, Colorado, LA is going to be huge. And then they play Seattle again in just a couple weeks, right?
I mean, that's the big schedule rivalry the NHL has given us.
Yeah.
Who wanted to see the Flames?
Yeah. But this stretch here is so important, right? The next, 10 games?
Yeah, you got to take advantage of the teams that you can take advantage of, and we just don't do that enough, though.
Yeah. I mean, there's four of those teams in there. That 5. Anaheim, San Jose. This team should beat Seattle every freaking time. Anaheim, San Jose, Seattle, Vancouver, Columbus, and Chicago, all before the end of the month. And then, I think this team's better than LA. They got that too. This
should be.
This is this is a stretch right here. This next 10 games, right, is so important. For the Oilers, they've got 6 of the next 10 should be wins. Should be.
Mm-hmm.
Go 600. I mean, and then you win 2 out of the other 4. I mean, you take that stretch out, right? Do it in the little blocks, right?
I mean, I think the 4-game road trip's going to say a lot.
Yeah.
Right. You got the Kings, the Ducks, the Sharks, and the Knights. 4 games and 6 nights on the road. And that's 4 divisional games. Right? You can give up 8 points pretty quick right there. So they need to get it together before that, I think, or my prediction is they'll go on a heater there, but they're going to have to beat the Islanders and the Avalanche before they do that. So, right, you got a couple doozies to practice on before that road trip.
Yeah. All right, so tomorrow night here in Halifax is a pretty big game for Team Canada. Team Canada versus Team USA should be an exciting one. I said in the group chat, Team Canada reminds me, who do they remind me of? And they remind me of the Oilers, 100%. It's, you've got a couple of generational talents that are just exceptional,
Mm-hmm.
And then you've got, a set of D that, they're just not great. They haven't been tested a lot throughout the tournament so far. In fact, I think one of the challenges Canada had, oddly enough, is this was they played in the weaker grouping, far weaker grouping. So
after losing that first game, were they 30, 34 goals for and 7 against or something like that, right?
Germany,
36
the fact that
6.
Germany made it to the playoff round tells you how
right
how weak Group A was. But they're coming in to play against Team USA, and that the Cooley line on Team USA is absolutely outstanding. I mean, these Cooley, of course, is back with Team USA. That line, I think, I'll have to check the stats, but I'm pretty sure that line has the most points for a line in the tournament so far. They've been outstanding. They're going to be tested, and the team, as was evident last game, they've got to be, solid discipline. They're going to win every game in the offensive zone. Like they're just defensively, they're not great. Milic, though, has come in and played well. I mean, he made that one brilliant save in OT against Slovakia. That was, was unbelievable. I mean, he made a couple saves, but he kept them in at a point where I don't think he wasn't as tested as Gahan was on the Slovakian side, and he which is hard for a goalie, I think, right? Like they come in and they, if they face 10, 12 shots, they're not in the game. I actually think that might be harder for a goalie that's facing, say, 50 shots, right? To stay in the game like that. But U.S. is going to be Logan Cooley. Watch him. Luke Hughes is good. Snuggerud. There's some great players there. Of course, with Canada, I'm still waiting for Fantilli to break out. That kid, though, is an amazing skater. Like to watch him, I've watched him every game this tournament. But he seems to, he's got the monkey on his back right now in terms of the performance that you would expect out of a guy that's, was as highly touted as he was going into the tournament.
Yeah.
And I think, overall, the Team Canada has been pretty good. Clark, he's looked good. There's a local kid, Zach Dean, Atlantic Canada kid, and he's been tough and, a good, bottom half guy. Gunther's certainly benefiting from playing with Bedard on the power play and reminds me a lot of like the Bedard or the McDavid-Draisaitl combo, seeing Gunther out there putting the puck in the net. It's exciting to watch. These guys are good, man, do they ever remind me of the Oilers. Like it's just, this idea that, on the power play, if the Oilers had more power plays, they're going to win every game. If Team Canada has more power plays, they'll win every game.
High-end skill does now.
Yeah. I mean, it's just unreal. But the one thing that this tournament has done is much like the, even the McDavid draft year when Eichel was, some people had Eichel as first overall, ridiculous, but some people thought he could contend. People thought maybe Fantilli could contend for first overall. It's not even close, right? Like it's Bedard has separated himself from the pack. We've seen some good players though out here, and it's been fun. It's been a great tournament. I had tickets when they were supposed to play in Edmonton pre-COVID that got canceled. But am I ever happy to get a chance to see some of these guys like Bedard and Wright and some of these up and comers, and I can just say like Canadian hockey is going the right way. The challenge we've always had is goaltending, and but Milic has played well, so it'd be an exciting game. That happens at 7:30 Atlantic time, so 4:30 Mountain time tomorrow. And then the other semifinals, Czechia and Sweden. Sweden won the first game between the two in Group A in overtime. I haven't been, I've watched pretty much every Czechia game live as well, and I haven't been enamored with them. they don't make a ton of mistakes, but they're just not. I thought I watched them in preseason or the pre-tournament against Latvia. They beat Latvia, but only because Latvia was, small and they beat them down. But I thought Latvia had more skill. I thought in the Canada-Czechia game, I thought Canada was by far the more skilled team. But Czechia's had the easier. I think they'll come back and beat Sweden, and so whoever it will be, I think I'm expecting Czechia and either Canada or the U.S. But I'm really concerned about the defense against the U.S.
I wouldn't take anybody lightly at this point, right? Like those countries, it means so much to those countries to beat Canada. That's their gold medal.
Oh yeah, but it should be an exciting game. So I'll be there. You can't beat the excitement though of that Slovakia game. Being in the rink, watching Bedard score. I was right there. I'm right in the attacking zone, right on the blue line. Like just beautiful spot for me, about 15 rows up. I've watched just about every Bedard goal, just perfectly.
Yeah. Sounds like you haven't missed a Slovakia game. It was nice of you to billet the drumming guy.
Yeah.
I see how you put a Canada jersey over top of your Slovakia one to post for a picture there too.
Yeah, the Slovakian drummers, they're famous out here now. But hey, this has been it's been a fun tournament. One day we'll have to have a pod just about the juniors and some of this that's going on, and talk about whether or not some of the things, right? Like should a tournament like the World Juniors be held in a big center like Edmonton or Calgary or wherever, or should they be held in a place like Halifax or Saskatoon or some of these smaller centers where junior hockey is king, right? Mm-hmm. And being here, I went when the World Juniors were in Calgary, and Neil says he'd hate to be behind the folks trying to watch the game. Behind me.
Oh yeah.
But I've been in Calgary, and I'll tell you that it's a bit of a different feel when you're in a junior barn versus being. I mean, the Saddle Dome. I don't know what you'd call that. It's not much better than a junior barn, but it is a different feel, and it's been a tremendous amount of fun. Folks out here are great. It's this has been an experience of a lifetime being here, watching the Canadian juniors, and of course getting a chance to watch Bedard and Wright and some of these guys has been outstanding. So anyway, tune in tomorrow night. Look for me. I'll be behind. I'll be behind the U.S. bench, about 14 rows up on the blue line, and so I'll wave at you.
It's not hard to miss you when your shoulders start at most people's ears.
That's right. Anyway, lots of fun. As I like to do, give you the last word. Just remind everybody, make sure you check out heavyhockey.com. Lots of articles all the time when we get to editing them.
There's lots of articles when your boss gets to bump his article past yours for editing.
The bump.
Priorities.
The boss bump. Yeah.
Hey, you know whose strings to pull.
That's right. All right. Last word as always. I put myself on mute. Thanks again, Dash, for joining me. Good to have you back. Love the shirt. Love the new scenery behind you. Looks good. And the Gretzky jersey, the old All-Star jersey is a classic. Did you go when they were in Edmonton?
Conference. Which to what? Sorry,
the All-Star game when it was in Edmonton was had to be about 87ish, 86. Jeez,
it was 86 or 88 maybe.
Yeah.
One of those 2 years, right after they won the cup, because that's when Sather got to coach because of that, and then took like 9 of his own players.
89.
That was the year Lee Fogelin made the All-Star game. Yeah, there you go. It had to have been the year after they won the cup, right?
Yeah, and that's later than I thought. I thought it was earlier. I remember it happening. I never got to go. Anyway, all right.
Kevin Lowe, Lee Fogelin, both Moog and Fuhrer, Gretzky, Curry, Anderson, Messier. Like they had like 9 guys on the All-Star game.
I bet I miss the simpleness of the old All-Star game. Like have a skills competition, then just have a game. 2 teams go out and like this. I don't know what they're doing now. Just anyway, that's another. We'll get there.
You don't think Glenn Sather would bring his dog to the rink? Is that what you're trying to say?
Anyway, we got lots to talk about. We should be taking notes here. We got lots of things to talk about. We're gonna have to do a whole
part 2 coming right up.
Non-Oilers discussion when they're winning.
Anytime.
We'll wait till they're winning because there's less to talk about when they're doing everything right. All right, you're up. I'm on mute. Go for it. Say goodnight when you're done. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Have a great night. Dash is on the clock.
For once, I didn't really plan anything. Actually, I did plan some, but I didn't have enough of the props to do it. So we'll keep her simple tonight. Enjoy the hockey over the next week. It's going to be fun. I think between the World Juniors and the competition that the Oilers are going to say, there's going to be a lot of good TV to watch. So enjoy it. It'll be a great way to start the year. Be positive. It's a long season yet. We'll have a ripper go here and win 15 out of 20 and be looking back at all those Pacific teams behind us and forget that this ever happened. So be patient. Thanks for having me, Michael. Always a pleasure. You're my favorite guy to talk hockey with. The Heavy Hockey Studios got the remake over the holidays. So thanks to Mrs. Dash for throwing a little sprinkle on my interior design here. And look forward to the next time I'm on. Good night, everybody.
Oilerslive.